Well, hello, and welcome to Stop Let's Team Up My Legion Adventure 68. And we're going to be covering Adventure Comics 373 and 374. So why don't we just get started? All right, this is Adventure Comics 373, cover dated October 1968, my 4th birthday. It's actually not October, because these things come out at a different time. Cover, Neil Adams, Jasper Saladino. Do the cover. Gasper just does the lettering. It's a great Neil Adams cover. The Tornado Twins are beating up Karate Kid while Superboy projector and Element Ed watch. Title of the story is The Tornado Twins. It's a 23-pager. Part 2 is called The Fun-Loving Allens - Superheroes. Credits: Mort Weisinger, editor Plotter, scripter, penciler, layouts only. Jim Shooter, penciler, inker Win Mortimer, letterer Ben Oda. Roll call: Phantom Girl, Brainiac 5, Superboy, Sunboy, Element Lad, Princess Projector, Karate Kid. Introducing the Tornado Twins. And the villains are unnamed thieves. An alarm summons the Legionnaires to the United Planets Vehicle Research Center, where crooks are stealing vehicles stored there. When the superpowered heroes arrive, they find the crooks already bound and captured by two youth who introduce themselves as Don and Dawn Allen. Karate Kid tries to question them to no avail, and the two depart. Later, the Legionnaires answer an emergency summons at the Alpha Iron Mine, where people are trapped underground in a cave-in caused by malfunctioning robot workers. During their rescue attempt, several Legionnaires are overcome by the robots, and a second cave-in cuts off Superboy from his comrades. Because a green kryptonite meteor thwarts his attempt to dig them free, he rushes to the surface to get help. Don and Dawn Allen suddenly appear, use their abilities to vibrate through the fallen Earth. Dawn causes the robots to smash against the wall with a wave of her hand. The rescue gets full coverage by the press. Oops. The Legionnaires, suspicious, do some investigating. They fail to uncover any incriminating information on the Allens. When Don and Dawn reappear to save the day at a third emergency, a fire at a chemical plant, the Legion members watch them in action, then offer them membership, which the Allens refuse. An irritated Karate Kid starts a fight with Dawn Allen, in which the others are quickly involved, but they are defeated by Dawn and Dawn. When next an alarm comes in, the Legionnaires' morale is so low that they leave it unanswered, assuming that Dawn and Dawn will take care of it. After some moments, however, they investigate and fly to the Central Square, where they find a giant alien spaceship. Smashing it open, they find it to be a dummy hiding a huge statue of the Flash. Dawn and Dawn appear wearing replicas of Kid Flash's costume and explain that they are the direct descendants of Barry Allen. Because the day was designated Flash Day by the United Planets, Dawn and Dawn publicize the event by having Barry Allen's super speed powers temporarily recreated in themselves. All is explained, all is forgiven on both sides. This is one I've read a lot, I think. I've seen it reprinted a bunch of times. But I do like this one. I'm going to talk about Win Mortimer's art first. I don't really like it. It doesn't sing to me. It's really kind of... I just don't like it. It doesn't have the dynamic of Swan. I'm just spoiled. It doesn't have... It just... Maybe it's his own inks. Maybe if he had a heavy inker like Klein or Anderson, I might like it more. I mean, the layouts are okay. It's just a little bit lackluster for me. I think we're at a point where Legion is turned their... I don't know if this is editorial or Jim Shooter, but I think the stories are just a little too backward going. If that's a term, that's not a term. But, more in the air when... I forgave it in the 50s. I'm forgiving it less in 1968. Okay? And also, so I'm outgrown... if I was a kid... I probably would have enjoyed it. And now I just don't... These aren't ones that are singing to me. I do kind of like the story. It's, it's padded for 23 pages. But it's got a good group of Legionnaires I like. I mean, Element Lad's in it. Karate Kid's in it. Projector's in it. So it's good. And I like that, if you were reading this for the first time, they're clues, but they don't give it away in advance at who Dawn and Dawn are. But, the different, every so many pages, they do something... They stop them, and you end up there's a big secret reveal. It's the basic Legion story pattern. I do like the fact that the Allens are in Kid Flash's costume. I do like that old school Kid Flash costume. But it was a fun little story. Nothing amazing, nothing crazy. The introduction of the Tornado Twins, who I think should have been used more. Because you don't really get a speedster in the Legion till Impulse. So that's way too long. I think every team needs a speedster at some time. I like the speedsters. I'm fond of the speedsters. Big fan of Wally. I'm a Wally guy. I'll put the question, who's your Flash? And give a list of a bunch of different Flashes, maybe. We'll see. Mine's Wally. And I like, and I wasn't a Flash reader until Post Crisis because I really didn't, Barry never stuck with me. But I like this. I like these two characters. I wish they'd used them more. It's a pretty good 1968 kids comic. So let's move on to 374, which was cover dated November 1968. Cover, Curt Swan, penciler, Mike Esposito inker. It's a nice Curt Swan cover. And the Esposito inks are good on it. The story is called Mission Diabolical. It's 23 pages. Part two is called Mission Infiltrate Tarsus. Credits, Mort Weisinger, editor plotter, penciler scripter, layouts only, Jim Shooter, Win Mortimer, penciler inker, Milton Snap, and letterer. Roll call: Cosmic Boy, Shrinking Violet, Saturn Girl, Lightning Lad, Dual Damsel, Phantom Girl, Chameleon Boy, Invisible Kid, Colossal Boy, Star Boy, Supergirl, Brainiac 5, Superboy, Sun Boy, Bouncing Boy, Ultra Boy, Mon-El, Matter Eater Lad, Element Lad, Light Lass, Dream Girl, Princess Projectra, Karate Kid, Shadow Lass, Chemical King, and Timberwolf. And this is the last appearance of Chemical King until issue 389, 15 months later. That is insane. Timberwolf is only behind the scenes. Supporting characters: Polar Boy, Fire Lad, Chlorophyll Kill, Stone Boy, Color Boy, Night Girl, known to everybody else as a Legion of Substitute Heroes. R.J. Brand, and the first appearance of Leland McCauley. The villains are Mysteriolor, Quanto, Rogarth, Shagrek, and several unnamed. The Black Mace, who would appear again in Legion of Superheroes 3rd Series number 31. And Tarsus Gang, Chief Zoltris of the Sign Police. Get some background characters. The Legion... Oh, here's a little bit of trivia. The Legion of Substitute Heroes were last seen in issue 351 and appear next in Superboy 200. Jeez, they were unlike every other issue before. This is weird. Well, I'm going to jump to the synopsis. There's a long synopsis in this one, but I'm going to go with it, okay? Various teams of Legionnaires are overpowered and taken captive at different locations, leaving only 5 members. Ultra Boy, Element Lad, woohoo! Dream Girl, Superboy, and Matter Eater Lad. Oh, and for Dream Girl, an additional woohoo. They appear at the headquarters. A mysterious masked figure suddenly appears on their communicator and tells the 5 heroes that the notorious space gang, Scorpius, holds their comrades hostage. Teleporting them to a hidden headquarters, he informs them they must defeat a group of criminals who are part of a rival organization called Tarsus. These include Rogarth, who possesses super strength, Black Mace, who wields a weapon for which he is named, well, I would assume that, Mystalor, a woman with a telekinetic powers, Shagrek, I'm not even going to make that joke, an alien able to disintegrate anything with beams from his antenna, and Quantro, a member of a self-proclaimed superior race, able to change into a beam of light. Forced to obey, the Legionnaires disguise themselves and assist a Scorpius squad in battle with the Tarsus Gang at the Brand Industrial Complex in Metropolis. When the Substitute Heroes and the Sign Police arrive, the Legionnaires and the gang members flee. Police Chief Zoltris ignores the Taurus Gang to concentrate on the Scorpius Gang, and the Substitutes recognize the departing Legionnaires. Later, Zoltris visits Leland McCauley, the second richest man in the universe, to accuse him of being the brains behind Scorpius and of attacking R.J. Brand out of jealousy. Meanwhile, Superboy and his fellow Legionnaires try to discover the identity of the Tarsus leader. Dream Girl predicts that the Tarsus Gang will strike next, and Ultra Boy makes plans to impersonate Black Mace and to switch places with him. The heroes follow Dream Girl's prediction and show up at a casino on the asteroid, Ceres. But in the ensuing struggle, Ultra Boy is knocked out. Dream Girl decides to follow through with her scheme and alter And after rendering Miss Delore unconscious, takes her place within the Tarsus gang. Once inside their ship, Dream Girl as Miss Delore persuades the gang to meet their leader to demand more pay for their services. Secretly tracked by the Legionnaires, the Tarsus gang meets with their boss, and to the hero's astonishment, he is none other than R.J. Brand, their benefactor. After capturing him in the battle that follows, however, they unmask him as a disguised Chief Zoltarus, who had kidnapped Brand and used his money to build a crime empire. When Contro learns of the fake Mestalor, he vows to her that he will. The heroes are then transported to Scorpius headquarters, where they are reunited with their captive comrades. When Scorpius is about to kill them all rather than let them go, however, the substitute heroes arrive to save them all. Scorpius is captured and the two legions compare notes on the case. God, that's a long synopsis. I hope it was silly enough for you, because that had to be silly, because these stories are damn silly. Do I like this story a little bit better? Yes. Do I like the art any better? No. So we're not going to go into that. It's just so basic. It feels so unfinished. There's a panel on page 3 with Starboy, which is just, it's just rushed. It just doesn't sing to me. It is just too basic. It is not something I like. I don't know that much about Win Mortimer because he's not drawn a lot of comics I've read. I do kind of like the story. Again, it's a simple, disguise ourselves as bad guys. These are some good bad guys. They come back. I'm glad to see Supergirl around. That's neat. But, overall, it's a pretty good story. It's a good group of Legionnaires again, but it's incredibly simple. The double fake, the little secret thing. It's, kids are reading this. They may not have seen the last one or may not see the next 3, so they do repeat themes and patterns to their stories. And, I think we're in a section where I'm not going to be as enthusiastic. So I'm going to make myself enthusiastic and force myself to be open-minded and read them. These were both just okay stories. The art was the only thing that really took me out of it. I'm enjoying these. These are nice. These simple stories are a nice palate cleanse after some of the stuff I'm reading. I'm reading a lot of Invincible. A lot. I've read an entire compendium and a quarter of the next one. And it is hyper violent. I'm enjoying it, and I think it is one of those times where the violence doesn't go too far for me. I think it works in that. And these are simpler comics from a simpler time, and I got to remember that when I'm reviewing them or talking about them. But they're fun. It was okay. It was entertaining. I think something else is better coming up. The next, I don't know if it's actually a 2-parter, but Bouncing Boy plays a big part. It's more Win Mortimer art, and Chameleon Boy's the lead in the second one. And those 2 issues will take me out of Archives Volume 8 into Archives Volume 9. So I got 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I got 5 more archives left. But here, I'm going to look at here. This is Win Mortimer's bios in here. Okay. So there, I just scanned his bio in here, and I'm going to read bits into it. He was born on May 1st, 1919. James Winslow Mortimer was raised in Hamilton, Ontario. Good. He's a Canadian. I love Canadians. They're nicer than we are. And came to the United States as a young man, where he attended school in the late 1930s at the Art Students League in New York City, later applying his draftsmanship skills as a poster designer for Canada's Ministry of Information. He moved permanently to the United States in 1945 after beginning a lifetime career as a comics illustrator. During the 50s, Mortimer was the chief cover artist for most of DC, Superman, Batman family titles. For several decades, contributed dozens of DC features of all genres: superheroes, war, romance. He'd be a good romance artist. I bet he did a lot of romance comics and mystery. Mortimer's Legions were relatively few in number, but even more so than Curt Swan before him, he made the Legionnaires look their age. I disagree with that statement. Under his artful brush, they were teenagers first and foremost, expressive but rarely grim. But they are not that expressive. It's the inking. I think he needs an inker. He needs a heavy hand. I'm a big fan of an inker fixing stuff. In later years, he left mainstream comics to do commercial illustration. I'm not dogging on Win. I'm just saying I don't like his Legion as much as others. But he was an important, I knew the name, and I forgot he did the covers. And I love those covers, man. I got that Batman, the annuals, Silver Age annuals, Volume 2. I haven't read it yet, but I really want to because I love those are some of the comics I love that they're, I know they're dated, I know they're silly, but they're so much fun, man. That 50s Batman stuff is just on point fun. But that's it for this Legion. I talked a little bit about Invincibles, a little bit about Legion, a little bit about Batman. I just went to the comic shop today, so I'll probably do another one of those What Did I Get on Friday. I have an extra episode this week because I got some good stuff and I kind of want to talk about it. I hope you all are doing good. Please let me know who your favorite Flash or Speedster is. I would like to know that, and I will put that question when I post this later this evening. But as always, be safe, be smart, be kind to one another. Tell them you love them if you do. It never hurts. And read some comic.